Welcome to episode 31, The Last Ship. Please turn on closed captioning so you can follow what I'm saying. This episode might be a bit repetitive as I try to make myself as clear as possible, so please bear with me. You know, a lot of conflict or disaster movies, whether set on Earth or in space, have some scene where the last survivors somehow make it onto a last ship to escape. Sometimes the last ship is a fleet, sometimes it's a single vessel, but the last ship gets the survivors away from a disaster about to occur. I've wondered sometimes about the manner in which humans escape the Earth before our sun expires and our solar system is destroyed. On a certain level, it can be only one of two ways: by time travel or by physical travel. Time travel means some futuristic thing involving bending light or using wormholes or something. Physical travel means being physically transported over enormous distances over a period of time that may be relatively short but could be relatively lengthy. It means possibly escaping Earth on a last ship. What will be the form of the human escaping the Earth who is able to survive what could be a very, very long trip? I don't know, but I think that movies like the Terminator series give us a clue. Perhaps no humans actually escape the Earth, just human DNA. Because one easy way for the human race to survive is for preserved genetic material to be taken by an intelligent robot or robots to another planet. A nuclear powered robot could survive thousands of years of space travel. The robot could be physically an actual spacecraft, or it could be a Terminator like robotic machine navigating a spacecraft. Who is to say that there might not be a day when what remains on the Earth is a population of robots, each storing human DNA and with each robot programmed to behave like a specific person, perhaps like the person whose DNA that robot is carrying? But also, it could be an actual living, breathing human escaping the Earth. Well, it could be several actual living, breathing humans escaping the Earth. Not one, not a cloned one. But let's say there are several or a colony of living human beings escaping the Earth, perhaps on some life supporting asteroid spacecraft that would be a mini world or mini worlds traveling for generations through space to another planet known to be habitable based on data returned by probes. There's this idea of a totally mixed race of humans surviving to get off the Earth before the sun explodes, and then on another planet recreating separate races. Some may think that that would lead to another world of conflict and strife between the distinct races being recreated. But not so if the races could learn to live peacefully together, which will likely eventually lead to the races mixing again, because peaceful people make friends, including with their neighbors. And so the cycle repeats, so that another mixed race world is created just in time for humans to escape that new planet before the sun explodes. What a theory. The key is the races cannot mix unless there is peace between the races, and that cannot happen unless we eliminate racial conflict such that everybody lives in peace. Essentially, you could say that we need a peaceful world for humans to survive. Going back to what I discussed in episode 9, the randomness game, conflict on such a last ship or ships would be severely detrimental to mankind's survival. Perhaps Neo is right And the purpose of life is to survive. And that's why we are here. However, there definitely cannot be a survival of the fittest contest to determine who gets on the last ship or ships. You know, many people misinterpret Darwin and the much quoted concept of survival of the fittest. Natural selection is more about who's best at adapting to survive rather than the strongest or most powerful always surviving. That's why creativity needs to be cherished. Life is random, and each time someone dies, literally without fulfilling their potential, whether at 70 years old or at 1 day old, it could be a unique ability is lost forever to mankind. It is true that some abilities lost could potentially be destructive abilities, meaning people with natures potentially harmful to the earth and her inhabitants. Going back to the Thomas Gray poem I mentioned in episode 26, who's to say that with a premature death we aren't losing some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood? But I firmly believe that the nature of man is such that given equal decent opportunities for existence from birth, good abilities and actions of people will by far outnumber the bad. Getting back to what I was saying earlier, the key thing though is that there are possible ways for humans to survive the destruction of the Earth's sun. The issue remains of how does the Earth eliminate conflict so it survives long enough for humans to come up with a way or ways to get on a last ship. So how is conflict eliminated when there are irredeemable bad guys out there? Let's get to this from another angle. According to my philosophy of life, the end doesn't justify the means in a good world. So you can't get a good world by doing things that are not good. When you deprive people of basic human dignity, you are creating conflict that's detrimental to the Earth's survival. When you deprive people of their lives and or livelihood, you are potentially destroying creativity, resources, and time that the earth needs to survive, and that cannot be good. But the earth has so many people who do things that clearly cost the earth creativity, resources, and time. How will they be stopped? Perhaps given time, natural selection will make it so, with humans evolving to an understanding of the purpose of life where survival necessitates doing good and the bad earths destroy themselves. But in the meantime, how does good people try to preserve the earth by stopping no good people in a way that's still good? Okay, how do you stop the people whose abilities lean on the side of destroying creativity, resources, and time in a way that does not destroy creativity, resources, and time? They must exist in the sense that they are still able to partake of the earth, but they cannot diminish the earth of good. But what happens when warnings about the potential future of their type of world doesn't make or doesn't work for the truly incorrigibles? How do you stop their futures in a good way? Well, you can try freezing them in time, literally or virtually. It's either that or you're left with coping as good as you can while surreptitiously doing another thing, working towards removing the good survivors by getting them on the last ship. Just remember, it's all about time.